free of charge. Hey, Renee. You know I will. Hey, I'm okay. How about you? We'd have been here half an hour ago, but we've been looking for a parking place. I mean, it's full out there.
Pretty crowded. So. For who? That'll be the day.
So, Ron, have you had some plastic surgery?
Ron's actually out sick right now, so I'm just coming in and stepping in. Yes, Ron's actually out sick right now, so I'm just coming in and stepping in for him. I'm actually the new planner for the city of Villa Rica.
Oh, yeah. I heard about you.
Oh, good. I hope it's good news. I hope it's good news.
Well, it's 6 o'clock, and let me call this meeting to order. First of all, I'd like to welcome, we've not met, so why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, come over to the podium. Or to the lectern, rather.
Or whatever.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sean Daniels. I'm actually a planner here for the city of Villa Rica very recently. I'm actually here stepping in tonight for Ron. He's actually out ill.
Is that S-H-A-W-N?
Close is actually S-H-A-U-N.
I knew whichever way I chose. Sean Rich?
Sean Daniels.
Daniels.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're going to be leading the show tonight?
Yes, sir.
I thought we were going to have a new council member. Was he not sworn in? But he's not here, so. Okay, any further information on Kenrick? I guess not. The new commissioner.
He's a firefighter. I don't know if he was on duty tonight or not.
Well, I would hope he would call in if he's not going to make the meeting, so. But since he's been sworn in, we'll have to consider him absent tonight. So, call the meeting to order. Let's hear about the agenda and any changes to be made to the agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there's a change on item B, new business number 1. The parcel ID number should be V08 instead of V05 is what I was informed of by staff.
Okay. How does that compare with the last meeting? Was it 8? No, it was 5 before. What's the change? Do you know? Is it 5 or 8?
It's actually 8. It was just a typo that was actually on the paper right now.
Well, again, it was 5 at the last meeting. So, okay, so it's 8. All
Yes, sir.
right. Is that the only change or correction to the agenda?
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Old business minutes. Is there any comment on the minutes as you received in the package of material?
Yes, sir. Oh, right here. It's actually a error in the minutes as well. It's the same error, not item V05 is actually V08.
Okay. Any other corrections? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as modified?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right. Now, you were.
I was absent, so I'm going to
so-
abstain.
Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes as presented? All in favor? Okay. All right. That brings us to item A2, which is RA 0823. Sean?
And may I go ahead and make a correction? This actually is 05. It's just the partial number was wrong.
What?
Sorry, that's my error.
Parcel VOA, right?
Yes, sir.
Applications RA05.
Yes.
Man, I am confused.
This was that's RA05. That doesn't change. The parcel ID is going from V05 to V08
All right.
on this document and on the,
Well, regardless
on
of,
your minutes.
okay, go ahead, Sean.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Commission. We're actually here continuing a document that's actually for the planning report for Kelton Villa Rica Highway. It is RA-05-23. And this application report is prepared in response to the rezoning application submitted by Mr. Blake Dexter for the property located at Carrollton Villa Rica Highway and Whitworth Road. The purpose of this report is to provide an analysis of the rezoning request and to make recommendations for the Commission's consideration. The applicant is interested in constructing an industrial aluminum anodizing use property, which is located in the suburban village character area. The request is being made in order to construct two industrial buildings. One is actually 100,000 square feet industrial building and where the main trade work will be performed. And the second is 29,000 square feet, which is an office building to support operations. The site will host an entrance off of Whitworth Road, and the city's comprehensive plan prescribes suburban village character area to the subject property, which does not recommend industrial zone categories. There are no longer industrial zone properties along the Highway 61 South Corridor. The surrounding area is largely residential, commercial, agricultural, and vacant land. Based on our analysis, we recommend that the City Commission deny the rezoning request submitted by Mr. Blake Dexter for the property of Carrollton Villa Rica Highway and Whitworth Road. Our recommendation is based on the following findings. Number one, the industrial zoning is not supported by the comprehensive plan, may result in spot zoning, and may cause an increase in traffic on Whitworth Road, where school traffic is already present.
Yes. Okay. Hey,
What did you say?
we need to, this was tabled at the last meeting, so we need a motion to bring it back. So,
I move to reconsider the subject request since it was tabled at the last meeting.
is that adequate?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. The map that was sent to me today does not show an entrance off of Whitworth Road. Only shows an entrance off of Highway 61. Is that changed?
Yes, sir. It's actually two entrances. It's actually one that's actually veering off of Highway 61. And then also, if you look onto the top where it says Whitworth Road, it's actually very faint. There's some lines that are actually dotted. Yes. It's actually towards the left.
I,
Oh, no.
I can't see that. Where, point it out?
Yes, there's.
There it is.
Yes, it's very faint. Yes, it's right there.
Well, it's certainly not obvious from the map, but I'll take your word for it. Do the commissioners have any further questions for the staff? Is the applicant available? Okay. Give us your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Blake Dexter, 3535 Peachtree Road, Suite 520, Atlanta, Georgia, 30326.
Do you have any additional comments to be made? Since we tabled this the last meeting, we're after some further definition and
Sure, I'd like to make some comments. With social media these days, it's pretty easy to see what people are talking about, and there's a lot of disinformation. So I'd like to get on the record of what actually is happening at this facility. This is not an aluminum smelting facility, which many of the social media posts are saying. No aluminum will be made at this facility. Aluminum arrives at this anodizing facility. They either come in rolls or pre-constructed shapes. Formed aluminum comes in this facility, and a protective layer is added to the aluminum. That is all that occurs. No clean air permit is needed at this facility. The employees stand next to this line. No mask is needed. No kind of face filter is needed. No industrial wastewater is permitted by the state either. The current facility in Atlanta actually runs the water directly into the sewer after pre-treatment. The company is spending over $1 million to add a closed-loop system at this facility, which recycles all the water that is used. So there will be no outputs to the community from this process. They run the same process in California, one of the most stringent states in the country. Additionally, they are spending additional dollars to put a containment area around all areas of the process, as well as any areas that are stored, any of their chemicals that go into this. So I just wanted to get that on the record.
What do you mean by a containment area?
There'll be a pit literally around the entire process area that doesn't have plumbing, doesn't go outside the building, and it's just another safety measure in case anything occurred.
So this is a containment within the building?
Yes.
Or within the proposed?
Within the building, where the process is occurring.
Now, I believe at the last meeting, you were talking about possibly dividing this area into two parts. Is that
Yes.
still true?
I think because of Ron's ailment, I think some of the information maybe did not get passed on, but I don't know if we will pass these out, but it actually shows the parcel lines. So we've shown the parcel lines on this map. If you want to hand them out and see them, but that was a request of yours last time.
Now, so you would basically be talking about this area,
Correct.
and this area is to be what?
Here, hand this to David, I'll look on with with Ashley.
Thank you.
This is the area you're talking about,
That's the same thing.
constructing.
Correct.
What is going to happen to this half of the proposed zoning,
The right side of
the left side,
the left side
between
is the
Highway
current,
61 and your buildings?
the current landowner will still own that, and they have no plans as of right now to do anything with it. I would, from experience, I would imagine it stays commercial.
Is that buildable?
Mhm.
You were talking before about wetlands in the area.
There's some wetlands right at the north of that pond, the north end. That's why the roadway is sort of up a little bit higher than it really needs to be, because there's some wetlands in there.
Mr. Dexter, where's your stormwater going?
We haven't gotten that far,
Okay.
but that's a good point. There's been a lot of flooding to the south, to the community to the south of this project, and that's because that entire basin goes that way. And with the regulations that are put on people like us with stormwater, it's actually going to improve the southern area, because we're going to have to contain everything that falls on that parcel. We're going to have to contain that water for a period of time before it's released. So can't speak to the left side because it's still going to be raw land, but with the stormwater that we put in, the containment that's required by every jurisdiction in the country, we will have to, it will improve the community to the south.
The reason I'm asking is I'm not seeing any sort of detention or retention pond on the illustration, and then you've got a buffer around the lake, and then the parcel's gonna, the family's gonna keep ownership of that parcel in the front. So are you talking about a stormwater containment system that would be underneath your buildings? Or where are you gonna divert it to?
No, there will be ponds within the drawing. I mean,
Somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, we can't get a permit without it. We can't, I mean, we're not that far in the
I understand.
process yet.
I'm just looking at the picture.
Yeah, I understand, so.
SWM down at the bottom there, that's stormwater.
Oh, yeah, there's it's right there.
That's where it is.
Thank you.
Now,
There we go.
again, we tabled this at the last meeting because, again, lack of certainty as to that second building. Are there any further definition of,
So we've had communications with Ron as well about that, so I'll reiterate our conversations. We've submitted to him the current zoning and what is permitted within the zoning of light industrial. And we've gone ahead and said that we will limit some of the ones that might be of issue with folks, such as animal shelters, filling stations, kennels, bottled gas storage and distribution.
so you're limiting to those?
No, we're saying not permitted.
Oh, okay, okay.
I mean, mostly what we're saying is permitted is warehouse distribution, light manufacturing, those type of things. So,
Now, would you have to come, I guess I would ask Kevin, would they have to come back to P and Z for whatever they do with that building?
Not if they got the zoning with conditions in it, if they complied with the, whatever zoning and conditions were approved.
Okay. And has that been agreed to with staff?
yeah.
He said at the last meeting, I believe Ron said nothing will be more hazardous than what they were doing already.
I would just clarify that we don't believe this is hazardous in the first place, but we don't do hazardous projects, so. that's-
What exactly is being contained in the containment zone or area that you mentioned?
The two main chemicals that are contained in the area that are used in the process are called, which are common chemicals used in sulfuric acid, which is 93%, and then 50% caustic soda. So
Caustic soda?
yeah.
Now, do those go in separate containment areas?
Yes.
So would those be in the same building or in separate buildings or?
No, they'd be in the same area of the building. the interesting fact about those two things, if you combine them, they neutralize each other. So if you actually had a spill of one, you would put the other on it to neutralize it.
Now, again, at the last meeting, when this was tabled, staff had made a recommendation, if applicable, of conditions of approval, and there were two stated. Have those changed?
I can read out the two recommendations to you right now.
So those have not changed? What are, go ahead,
No, sir, they have not.
go ahead and read them.
Yes. If the commission actually wants to approve this, then the applicant will install a self-contained sewer treatment facility for manufacturing, by product, and development sewer discharge, and not including typical restroom and break room usage. And then the second is the rezoning only applies to the proposed use and reverts back to C2 zoning if proposed aluminum anodizing use is discontinued.
Are you were familiar with those two conditions?
Well, the first one is actually, I believe, let me just see the license bill, man. Yeah, we actually brought this up after the meeting. The self-contained sewer treatment facility is actually illegal under Villa Rica, I believe, code. You all don't want us running a sewer treatment facility under your code. Most jurisdictions don't. I believe, and we didn't get a chance to talk to Ron about this, but I believe what that was talking about the recirculation system that we're putting in, because nothing from the process is going towards sewer. So I think it's a misphrasing of of the system that we are putting in place. So, as I said, they are putting this 100% recirculation system in. We're happy for that to be a condition. And I believe that, you can confirm this with Ron, but I believe that is where the mistake was made, because under code, we're not actually allowed to do a sewer treatment facility.
Now, what about other sewer usages? Is that,
Just like any warehouse, any home, it would just be sanitary sewer for approximately 60 employees.
but I believe the city has sewer capability in that area, do they not?
There is well, it's actually denoted, that large black line that you see starting just south of the pond, that runs north and then to the west, is the sewer line. There's a pump station cavity there. The pump station itself is not there. We would have to install that.
So water and sewer is not an issue from your perspective?
No, sir.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I misheard. How many employees?
Approximately 60.
60. Okay. What would your hours, what are your normal operating hours?
The usual, they run from, I think they start at 7 and they run till, I think they run 7 to 7.
And how much traffic would you envision coming off of Whitworth as compared to coming off of 61?
Most of the traffic would be coming off of 61.
So very little off
Yeah,
of
we
Whitworth.
just have to have the flow for the property.
Any truck traffic involved?
There is, but very minimal. They estimate at their current facility, they have approximately on average about 6 trucks, and they're not semis necessarily. They have what are called flatbed trucks that are trailered that bring in aluminum product as well. So it's not all semis.
Okay.
Have you consulted with the DOT yet? Or spoke with them?
Well, there's already a cut right there on the state road, so we don't have to consult with the DOT there. And then we have not consulted with them on Whitworth.
Commission, do you have any other questions for the applicant? Any other concerns? Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Back to
Thanks.
Back to staff.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any other considerations? The two considerations that, I guess there were three that you made for denial. Any changes in those? Any changes in the two for conditional acceptance?
For denial,
Yeah, there were three.
yes, sir. No
Right.
changes in the denial
Okay.
and no changes inside.
Okay,
The
but
approval.
the applicant has basically accepted those two conditions, I believe.
I think he had a discrepancy with the sewer treatment.
We do not allow private sewer systems in the city. I think what, and I'm not an engineer, so the city staff can speak to this, but I think they wanted some assurances that there, any water used in their processing is not going into our water system, our wastewater system, is that correct? Other than the typical toilet and sink and bathroom and kitchen store.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, if the commission has no other questions, I'll open this up to public hearing. We've had a sign-up sheet that I picked up coming in. It's, has 7 names on it. First name is Jody Willis.
Long time friend.
Name and address, please.
Jody Willis, address is 2273 Carrollton Billerica Highway. I live just across the road from this proposed area here. I'd ask that y'all deny this request. I feel there's better places for industrial than right here locally next to our kids' school. This is better suited, I think, residential like commercial. I don't think that would fit in our area. I especially hate it being next to, I got a grandbaby in Ithaca there. And anyway, I just asked that y'all deny this request, change. I just don't think it's the right fit for us there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can't read this next one. It's like Linda Hurt or Hunt.
Lisa Hewitt. Yeah,
Okay,
Lisa Hewitt.
if you say so.
That's me. I think I was the next one up there.
Address, please.
239 Hendricks Road. My property is adjacent to this building they're wanting to put up. I gotta hurry. Guaranteed never to weld in that place with aluminum and guaranteed never to make, melt, or smelt ever
Please.
in those two buildings?
Would you please address the microphone, please, so we can
Ever?
hear you?
Okay. Gotta hurry. He said it's not a smelter facility, but he did make indications. I was thought last month when we were here, whenever, that they would be melting the aluminum. I didn't know for sure. So anytime you melt any, it's a smelt. But anyway, this is my concerns. This is the real concern along with non-conducive to the community being exclusively residential, which it might be a little more than that. This is where we live and play. There are numerous subdivisions and homes on the south side of Villarica. To try and put industrial right next to an elementary school is not looking out for our community. The traffic is already a huge issue, and to add more traffic to this area is going to impact our community and neighborhoods. I'm asking the zoning and planning to deny this request. Putting industrial in this area is not in the best interest of our community. I can't understand why a factory would want to be in this area where there's none south of Villarica Industry anyway. Even if they have emissions or not, they're serious concerns no matter what. And the health and well-being of the children at Ithaca Elementary School should not even be put at risk, even if it is, we don't know all the facts on that. I have been around and I have asked people in the community and told them about it because there wasn't very much information out there. I have over 100 signatures of people who are not interested in having the facility or industry in this area. We already know it's commercial, so I just wanted to make it known that we're not for this, and I hope that y'all will deny this request. There's lakes, waters, and runoff. He says he's gonna confine their water. Well, what are they gonna do with it later, after it's confined? And why are you gonna confine it if it's healthy for the environment? Why are you gonna confine it if it's not gonna hurt anything? That's what I'm wondering. So, let's see, anything else? As far as industry on the south side of Villa Rica, there isn't. And there's homes and communities, and it's the livelihood of everybody. It's just gonna cause more traffic, and I'm not trying to be ugly or mean, but isn't there other industrial areas in the United States or Georgia or anywhere? Or even if you've run out of places, well, maybe somebody else needs it somewhere else. Thank you.
Thank you. Ronnie Hewitt?
I'm gonna decline right now, just to see if anybody else wants to talk.
Okay. Amy Brown? Good evening, Miss Brown. Good to see you.
I'm Amy Brown. I own a business at 119 South Candler Street in Villa Rica. My daughter attends Ithaca. My husband and daughter are both at Bay Springs Middle School, which are right there. I would like the commission to deny the request based off the fact of the industry coming into that area. We know that in 2009 there was a flood in that area, so we know that drains are in the runoff is going to run that direction anyway. So anything that's industrial is going to run straight into our school. I'm concerned about the decibel level being so close to a school and what that's going to do. We know that there are many concerns about aluminum and the when it goes into the air and what that does to people. We've had lawsuits across the country where people have been seriously ill because of that, and we're going to put that right next to a school. The traffic is already a nightmare on Whitworth, and if you've ever taken your kids there, we try to get there before 7, just so we don't have to deal with the traffic through there. I agree with the spot zoning. We don't want to start a trend of approving spot zoning. I don't love the idea, like when you read things that we've seen being posted about this, they talked about that the original building would be used for the manufacturing, the other building would be used for employees and for office space. And other things that we've read, they've said that that building may be rented out in the future. I just don't love the idea of us opening a can of worms that we can't put back in this zoning of commercial, from commercial to industrial. And then also, if we make it industrial, are we going to also make that front property later on industrial? That also is a concern to me. So for the protection of our students and our teachers and staff at Ithaca, I ask that you deny the request.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ann Bone?
Ann Bone, and I live at 50.
Could you lower the microphone so we can hear you better?
I can talk louder.
No, speak into the mic, please.
Ann Bone, 50 Whitworth Road. That property originally was in my family, and my grandchildren are the 7th generation of my family on that farmland where the Ithaca Elementary School is. And I haven't had an opportunity. We've had a death in that community this weekend, plus a death in the city with the loss of retired State Trooper Jimmy Ray Holcomb, who I was really close with. And I don't have a lot of facts prepared, but I do want Ronnie Hewitt to speak, and I do want the principal of the school to speak. I can tell you now that the gobbledygook that you hear is not definitive enough for you to know what you're agreeing or disagreeing on. there is no sewage there. And there is not a road from Whitworth there. I think I heard him say that there was, but there isn't. And it's a community where you've just approved for senior housing right up the road. This Georgia State Patrol headquarters right across the road. It's on part of the family farm in the past. The Methodist Church is right there, and they have children's activities all the time. I would love to see the school or the city buy that property and make something wonderful out of it. I can't understand that you would even propose to put that kind of zoning there. And I know that once the cat gets out of the bag, you're never going to be able to go back. You have to stop it now. And I would just hope and pray that you would take into consideration the children of the school, the families in the community, the church, the neighborhoods, the makeup of that particular area, and the teachers in the school. So please don't do it. I beg you, please don't. Thank you.
Thank you.
Richard Mayberg?
Good evening, Rich Myberg, 58 Legend Drive, Villa Rica, Georgia. I believe at the last meeting, part of the reason it was sent over to this meeting was nobody could tell us what was going to go into that second building. And without knowing the use of that building and what it'll do to affect for water, children, traffic, we know there's 6 to 8 trucks coming out of the facility they're recommending, but how many will be coming in and out of whatever that second building is? I would like to deny it at this time, and if we find out more about that other building and its uses, we can reconsider it. Some things that we learned last time was sulfuric acid in an electrostatic bath is what you do to anodize aluminum. Well, sulfuric acid doesn't dissolve and disappear. Obviously, some of these holding areas that they're talking about, they're going to have to put that sulfuric acid and other chemicals used in the anodization somewhere. Traffic, we talked about a lot because they recommended there be a crossover on 61 where there's no crossover now. You have to, if trucks are coming out that way and want to go south, they're going to have to go north. They could make a U-turn and come back. And they're coming from the north, they're going to have to come down Flat Rock and make a U-turn and come back there. That's a lot of trucks, whether they're long flatbeds or 18-wheelers, to be making those U-turns at both ends of this property. And for everybody to say, well, the DOT will put in crossover lanes, let the DOT tell us that that's going to happen long before we approve any zoning changes. Last time we were told how wonderful aluminum is, that everybody uses it in their antiperspirants. Well, I started to say, gee, it's in my antiperspirant. So I looked it up and looked at all the dangers of all that aluminum, and I immediately switched to from an antiperspirant to deodorant with no aluminum. It's pretty easy to look up. The aluminum coming in is supposed to be preformed, either on rolls or in preformed shapes to be anodized, but that doesn't say that those sheets have been cleaned of any possible aluminum dust when those shapes were made or cut. One thing about aluminum dust, it's highly flammable. So even though it's not being created possibly in this facility, it's coming in on the products that are going to be anodized. And if you don't mind, I'll give each member of the council what I've read a little bit. I only have 28 seconds. You know, at one point there was going to be residential there, and it was high density basically, and there wasn't enough water or sewage to take care of that. But, and the other thing is, why is there a for sale sign still out there on the property? Has it sold? Is it not sold? Is it pending this approval? I'm not sure what's going on with the sale of the land. So it's all kind of interesting, and as I said, I prefer that we not agree to this at this point.
Thank you,
Thank you for your time.
thank you. Johnny Perret? Johnny P-A-R-R-E-T-T or L-L, I'm not quite sure. Is that you?
Michael Vasquez, I live at 921 Santa Fe Road, Santa Fe Drive. You see these, one thing is that they use the word minimal for emissions, minimal for this, minimal for that. But what do they consider minimal? Plant Yates says that they put the minimal emissions possible out. I went to look at a house one day over there. Guy mentioned, oh, every 3 months we pressure wash it. It's actually white, but right now it looks gray. I said, why are you leaving? Because all 5 of my kids have bad asthma problems. I lived in Texas for a while. They would talk about this plant had a minimal gas release. This plant had a minimal gas release. And then you're talking about 300,000 gallons was released, but they call that minimal. We've got communities here. It's not like the communities were built around the plant, like the plant was there first. We have a school there. What are you going to think in 15 years from now when your kid starts to go there in pre-K, and by the time they're in high school, they have this cancer or that cancer? Bladder problems and cancers are the #1 problems with employees in these plants. If you look it up on the internet, that's where I was getting this information from. They use the term minimal. What are the precautions in case of some sort of an accident? What are the precautions in the case of some sort of a fire inside the plant? Okay? Not only things that happen outside, but inside. What happens if they have a major pipe break? Where does all that waste go? These are things that have to be considered too. There was a reason it was not listed as being industrial. They want to change it to industrial, but it was not zoned for industrial for a reason. And I think we need to leave it that way. If not for us, but for the kids and the people in the neighborhood. As the lady said, there's a church over there. Okay, they talk about minimal emissions, but what do they call minimal? What you would consider, what they call minimal, we might call disastrous, because they use the terms minimal all the time. We had a minimal release. Well, it was only 1 million gallons. It was only 100,000 gallons. That's not minimal. Thank you.
Thank you. That's everybody who on the sign-up sheet. Is there anyone else that would like to speak for or against this proposal? If you come to the microphone, give us your name and address.
My name's Ronnie Hewitt, and I live at 239 Hendricks Road, Villa Rica. I'm 65 years old. Let me get my glasses. I'm sorry, I got something wrote down here. I'm going to try to read it. I don't think it's in the best interest of the community to have this aluminum. I don't know what they're going to do there. They tell you one thing, then the next meeting they tell you another thing. So I really don't know what they're going to do or not. But I have been in a position myself to weld aluminum, to grind aluminum, to do all this stuff in my shop. And I always had to wear a respirator, full face respirator, air packs and everything when I'd done all that. and they gonna work on it and not do anything, and they gonna, them kids are gonna be subject to anything that happens there, and that's wrong. We don't need industrial right there close to the school of any kind, in my opinion. And I hope y'all don't let them do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else that wish to speak for or against? All right, come forward.
My name is James Timms. I live off of Hendricks, 350 Hendricks Road. I've got some questions. He said, I think, that they were going to use sulfuric acid. Is that correct? Yeah, well, he's the guy with the information back there, but I'll address the council. I'm kind of like everybody else. I don't have enough information at this point to be for it for sure. Number one, sulfuric acid, y'all have all been around paper plants and all. They stink. Number two, I think I understood that they're going to capture the chemicals they're going to use. So what do? Pull trucks in there and pump it out of their containment pits or whatever that you want to call them. And of course, I have to agree with everybody else. Right across from there, we have Ithaca Grammar School. We got a bunch of kids over there. As y'all know, developing brains and minds are most susceptible to chemicals, and we don't need that. It's a very nice community. It's residential, farms, cattle. We have an industrial park off of 61. Douglas County's got an industrial park west of Douglasville and east of Douglasville. Why all of a sudden do we need to open up a light industrial park right off of 61 when we have facilities for that already? You know, like I said, I think we need more information about how they collect, what they're going to do with the sulfuric acid, the ash that they use. Are they going to tow it out on trucks? Like everybody said, okay, we have a truck, we have a spill, then what? The other thing is that is a watershed in there. A lot of creeks, a lot of water. If we ever have an accident, that could really mess up some nice creeks and some nice areas in there with ponds and things of that nature. Because all those lakes in there are fed with rainwater that runs, like they said, to the south. So at this point, I think we need a whole lot more information about exactly what goes on in this process before we approve it. And the other thing is everybody's been talking about the traffic. The traffic is horrendous just from the school itself. So DOT would have to really come in there and do a lot more work, I think, as far as turning lanes, deceleration, acceleration zones, and that kind of thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to speak if I can. My name's Leah Reeves. I live on 140 Bivens Road, and I would appreciate it if you guys would deny this coming in. I'm a retired teacher from Ithaca Elementary, 35 years in Carroll County Schools, and I know where I live on Bivens Road, we do not have the capabilities of running water from the city or the county, so we're all on well waters. We have our own sewage systems at our homes. Everything around me is residential, agricultural. I live right next to where I grew up. I grew up with cows, and there's still cows and horses and goats. I live next door to a llama farm. And what you've got to realize is the impact this has or would have on the families, the community, the dangers to the elderly. You know, my mother lives next door. I wouldn't want my mother to have to deal with the water. We already have a sewage pump station on Bivens Road from the city. What happens with that is it's never supposed to leak. We're never supposed to have it. We were promised never supposed to have any problems with it. But at the beginning, for the first couple of years, we would smell sewage all the time, raw sewage. We've had maintenance workers there all the time working on it, and it's never supposed to be leaking. And the same thing's going to be, could possibly happen here with this. You know, we don't want a leakage ever with any kind of industry, no matter whether it's in a residential area or on industrial parks. But we definitely don't want an industry coming into our residential areas where we have homes, we have grandmothers, we have parents, we have children and grandchildren trying to raise. And we're just begging you, please, to deny this.
Thank you. Anyone would like to speak in favor of this proposal? Yes, sir.
So a couple people have asked if I was
Name
going to
and
say something.
address,
My name
please.
is Michael Browning.
Your address?
I'm speaking on behalf of the interest of Ithaca Elementary School, 75 Whitworth Road.
What is your address, please?
My address is
Yes.
204 London Way, Lithia Springs, Georgia. I'm the current principal at Ithaca Elementary School. And as you've heard, that the concern is not just for the unknown, but also for the known, which is currently there are about 807 children at Ithaca Elementary School. A large majority of those children are children that are not currently slated to actually go to Ithaca, which means that about 300 of those students have no other way other than car. And so it's very important that when considering what this will do, that we absolutely consider what traffic will do to the impact of the school. We already expect many delays due to wrecks that happen all the time on 61 due to how the road is slated as it is. What will this business do to the traffic on either side? I did hear him say that they were discontinuing or denying the entrance at Whitworth, but like you've heard, there's only one way on either side of 61, and we have to consider that. The other thing that we have to consider is that he said we can expect business between 7 and 7. Well, the last person leaves our school at 7 o'clock, and that's when our custodians begin to come in. So how do we continue to ensure the safety of not just the students at the school, but also those that are working after hours to clean our facility also? The other thing that is super, super important to me as the school principal is the interest of the school and the district in terms of communication. I had to hear about this from Miss Amy Brown. I think that is highly kind of insensitive to the school and to the school district, and it will help to ease the nature of our parents, the nature of our community, if the needs of our students and the school community were considered in terms of how we reached out and how we worked through these needs with our school superintendent and those that could help us be easy with whatever the decision is. Again, I'm kind of indifferent because I do not have enough information to be able to say yay or nay. But I do think that out of growing concern, we do have to consider and prioritize the needs of the school and the school district by proactively communicating with both. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see no other hands rising, so I will call an end to public comments and revert back to the commissioners. Commissioners, we've heard information from the applicant, from staff. Do you have any questions at this time for, let's say, for the staff at this time? Any, I'm sorry? Did you, any questions for the applicant?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right, then I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make the motion that we recommend to the City Council to deny application RA-05-23.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that the applicant be denied. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion? Unanimous. Okay, now, let me say this to the audience. The fact that Planning and Zoning has just denied this application does not mean that it is denied. This application goes before the City Council. It's City Council's decision as to whether this is approved or denied. We are merely a recommendation body to the City Council. So you may wish to appear and make your wishes known as well at the City Council meeting. This will probably come at the next council meeting, I assume, which will be in January. Whatever the second Tuesday is in January. So again, just be advised that this denial is not the end. So, but we appreciate your coming out and thank you for your,
Mr. Chairman?
yes.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. Yeah, when I first heard this request, I am all in favor of this particular applicant. I think they're a good quality industry, and I think it would be a good quality business for us to have here in Douglas County, but or in Villa Rica. But it would it's a serious exception to our code, and I think there's a reason why the zoning code did not include industrial at that location. And so I hope that the applicant will stay with us and find a site that's more suitable for industrial. But I had to say I could not vote to create, to break the code for this particular application.
Thank you. Refer back to staff for any further comments.
No, sir.
Well, I would like to make some comments. This will be my last meeting on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I've been on P&Z now for well over 10 years, maybe 13 years. And it's time to turn it over to someone else. Now, this is not a sudden announcement. This, in fact, Ron had made this announcement last March that I was not planning to reapply for planning and zoning. So come January, there will be at least a couple of new faces on planning and zoning. That may come as a delight to some people that I will no longer represent planning and zoning. I've enjoyed it. It's been very, very much educational to me, but one of the things I'm often asked is, how did I manage to live so long as I have? And there are two answers to that. One of them is some exercise, physical exercise. I think that's very important for all of you. But the other is to keep mentally involved and alert. And planning and zoning has done that for me for the last 10, 12 years. So I will miss that. And I look forward to maybe finding some other way to serve the city of Villa Rica. I don't know whether that will come to pass or not. But I will not seek a reappointment. My term ends the end of this month. So unless there's something that comes up between now and the 31st, this is my last meeting. So I wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and do continue to be concerned about what's going on in your city. We heard a lot of comments tonight. I'm not sure that all of them are entirely accurate. A lot of it is being picked up on social media, and as we all know, social media is not the best source of information on anything. So, get out and get involved, and don't just listen to what you see or read or hear on the social media. Get out and get involved. Attend these meetings. Attend the city council meeting. You say that you had not heard about this application before. Well, this is the second month that this has come before planning and zoning. So the information is there, and it's up to you to get out and find it. But it's available. The information is available. These meetings are announced on public. They're announced on the city's website. The agenda is announced on the city website. So get involved with the community. So that's my comment. Any other comments from the commission?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment.
Sure.
Well, just on the behalf of the city staff here at Villa Rica, we want to just thank you for your honorable service to the city, and working with us, and all you've done for the city of Villa Rica, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Jerry.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to thank you for your leadership over these last few years since I've served on planning and zoning. You've been our chairman, and I want to thank you as well.
Thank you
And
very
also for how the city is shaped. Some good, some bad, but we're moving forward with progress, and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, well, if there are no other comments, I will.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Is there a second? All in favor? We adjourn.
That'll be the last time I do that.